This is Kicking and Streaming Podcast.
We are discussing Ricky Gervais's, what is that show called? Supernature, isn't it?
Supernature, yes.
Supernature. And we're gonna go right into it because it's about an hour and 13 minute Netflix special. And part of the reason we wanted to discuss this is because the few times that we have gone over a stand-up comedy, twice, I think, has been about those of Dave Chappelle. And I think Dave Chappelle is not the only controversial comedian out there. And so we not necessarily wanted to compare what, Ricky just did versus what Dave has done in the past two times, but rather to bring a bit of balance to that.
Mhm.
I think that's the way we approached it. Jojo, let's talk about Supernature by Ricky Gervais. I just watched it, and I'm a huge fan of Ricky Gervais.
Mhm.
I have to start by saying that because that's the truth. After all, this is the dude that invented The Office.
Right.
And we've had nothing but high praises for Ricky's Afterlife series. It's just an amazing, amazing thing. But this time, there are some things that I personally I'm going to disagree with Ricky. None of what I saw here really made me angry, but I did see a bit of the same current of lazy jokes that a lot of comedians have fallen into, and it's sort of like disappointing for me when it comes to Ricky Gervais. So, what do you think of Supernature?
So I watched it a few days ago, and it's funny because it was kind of a coincidence because before I knew that we were going to be talking about this, I had just watched a George Carlin special. And so then I watched the Ricky Gervais special, and I think that perhaps made me judge Ricky a little more harshly than I would have if I hadn't seen the George Carlin special, because the George Carlin special was from 1999, and it was so intelligent and so crafted and so, I don't know how to describe it other than just a work of complete comedic art. And it's over 20 years old, so it shouldn't even be relevant. But I laughed so hard. And of course there were some things that were like, ooh, that doesn't really apply anymore. But you could still respect the work that went into this special. That man put so much thought into that stand-up special. And I watched Ricky Gervais, Nature. And so it starts with, from a man who really doesn't need to do this, Ricky Gervais. And to me, that showed. Like, that was, to me, it felt that was the attitude he went into it with. I don't need to do this, so I'm just going to come up here and throw out whatever the hell I can. And if people laugh, hooray. If they don't, I don't care. I'm taking my money and going home. It felt, as you already said, lazy, and it felt derivative. And I think I laughed twice. Well, I laughed once and I chuckled once. So that was it. Like, I know that some of the trans community is very upset about the jokes that he made in this. And I'm not saying that the jokes he made were good or funny or anything at all like that. They're lazy more than they are
Yeah.
anything else. They're very, very lazy. And to me, the difference between this and Chappelle is that Chappelle's jokes were more offensive to me because I felt that he put a lot of thought into them and a lot of work into his stand-up routine about it, and a lot of thought, and he practiced that a lot. And to me, Ricky just kind of threw shit out there, and it was just like, what? It was just like, this is so disappointing. Like, this is Ricky Gervais. He's
Yeah.
incredibly intelligent. He's
Yes.
incredibly funny. He's very original. And this special it's just bad.
Well, one, it was lazy, but two, you were right. He approached the whole thing with a I have zero fucks to give attitude. And the third thing is that, and I think he made it a point to sort of like make you recognize that this was more banter than comedy. If you follow the trend here, right? That's not me making excuses for him. But I think Ricky understands what is expected of him. And I think he felt like, oh, I'm due for another comedy special. Netflix has already paid for it. I don't really want to put a lot of thought into this whole thing, but I still have to come up with something. So let me go back to being a silly 13, 14-year-old boy. Let me also jump into the whole bash the trans thing, because negative or positively, it sells.
Yeah, that's completely my problem with it too, is it was so lazy, and it again, it was the I feel like the statement should be at the beginning where they when they introduce him should just be a warning. Like, buyer beware. This man doesn't need to do this, and so he's really just gonna do a shit job. Completely believe him when he says that he believes that trans rights are human rights. I
Right.
believe Ricky.
Right. Yeah.
So to me, the swipe that he took at trans people, the thing that has made everybody talk about this show, the swipe that he took at trans people was just lazy. Like, do better, Ricky. If you're going to make a joke about this, just do better. Do better. Make a funny joke if you're going to do it about trans people. I'm not
It
saying
was
that they're
like a
even.
fart joke. It was like, like
Yes.
to joke about trans people, and the best thing you can come up with is lose the cock.
Yeah.
It's a 13-year-old,
Yeah.
masturbation, playing with your willy and your bowl log shit. Like,
Yeah.
come on. That's all
Yeah.
we're saying. Like, is that too much to ask for?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't understand. I feel it really felt like he just walked out and just wung it. Like, he had no notes whatsoever and was just like, this is just going to be free thought, and whatever I might have thrown into a tweet, I'm gonna say in front of television. I know all of this is going to get us blocked on Twitter by him if he ever looks it up, but I just it, it it's it was a very disappointing special, and I wasn't offended so much by the jokes as I was offended by the lack of thought and effort that was put into them. I'm not saying it's okay that he made those jokes. What I'm saying is they were stupid jokes. And the furor that they've caused, I don't think is even worth it because they were so stupid. That's completely the way I felt about Ricky. Was like, this is so unintellectual and so little thought put into it that whatever anybody that he offended, because he was talking about, okay, so he made jokes about women not being funny, right? Okay,
Yeah.
I can talk about that. I'm a woman. So it was just dumb. I just rolled my eyes through the whole thing. I'm like, I'm not offended because it's stupid. I'm not laughing because it's not funny. And I'm not offended because it's
It's
it's it's
stupid.
it's stupid. I'm considering the source, and Ricky, this is just dumb and you're
About that.
disappointing.
When he talks
So,
about how comedy evolves, how you could have said something 10 years ago on Twitter, and today, like, if anyone finds it a screen grab today and make a big deal out of it, they're wrong for that, because that was 10 years ago, and that could have been funny back then, or that's a mistake that you made, or whatever. So that to him is how, we evolve as we learn about things, which is true. But also there's a question of discernment. There's a
yes.
question of, you know am I going to just jump on a trend, or do I
Yes.
have the professional and personal conviction to say, this is not for me, man, seriously, you do you, that's fine, but I'm not going to do that.
To me, I think a lot of people feel that comedy is throwaway, that it is of the moment, that it will always be throwaway, that it is something that can only ever be quote unquote of the moment. And I don't believe that, in that there are certain things that are always going to need to be taken down. There are certain establishments that are always going to oppress a certain people, and we can always make that funny. Fundamentally, there are things we can always make funny, and I think that that is one of the fantastic things about George Carlin, is how intelligent his thought process was when it came to comedy. He never thought of it as something throwaway. He thought of it as something just as important as any great work of literature, any great film. He took it that seriously. And I think that that is just a beautiful thing. It's the reason why we're still talking about him. And the fact that he was willing to push the envelope with that and open the doors for so many other comics, because he is so incredibly intelligent with his comedy and so fucking funny.
Yeah, it's like we've had this triangle with Carlin, Gervais, and Chappelle.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, for me, all three of these dudes are like some of the smartest people to ever do comedy.
Agreed.
Simple as that. And
Agreed.
smart on an intellectual level that is beyond a lot of comedians.
Agreed.
And so what we are saying here is that we expect better out of
Yeah.
these two.
Yeah.
But we're still fans. you
Yep.
know, and nobody canceling anybody here.
Yeah.
That's not what we're saying. We're just saying you can do better, man.
Yeah.
Because we know you, like we know the quality of your work. What the
Yeah.
hell?
Yeah.
Do we not have the right to ask you for that?
Right.
Do we not have the right to demand that of you, knowing who you are and what you do and how you do it?
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
sure as hell I'm not gonna ask that from I don't know, Kevin Hart or
Larry the
any
Cable Guy.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's just no. And that's the thing too that bothers me too, because it feels like, and I don't know if this is a social media thing or what, but it feels like a lot of comics are caught in their own feedback loop.
Yep.
And feeling that if anyone agrees with them that they're attacking them. That's not it. It's criticism in the sense of we are expecting better of you because we know you can do better.
Simple as that. And so we're not gonna be on a dead horse. We're gonna just leave it here.
Yeah.
And like I said, Ricky, by now he knows that we are a fan of his work. He's retweeted and liked our tweets about his own things, and he might not agree with us with this one, and
Yeah,
we're cool. We're cool with that. But
Yeah.
we said what we said, and yeah, man.
Yeah. We
That's it.
we said it, and we said it with love. It was our hug.
Yeah. If you take it the wrong way, nobody paid us for this, but as you said, Netflix obviously paid for it. No one is paying us for that. We're just ranting.
Yes, there you go.
So we are going to call it a day today because, again, Graham has a thing and Jojo's
Yeah.
just starting her day back in California. So there's that. So we're going to leave it here.